In 1998, my family moved to Hong Kong. My mother worked for Hasbro, the toy company, as a designer. She reasoned with the company it would be easier and cheaper to do R&D in Hong Kong and then follow the manufacturing progress just over the border into China. She had been going there since the late 1980s. The company agreed and we began our journey as what we'll call expats. I remember being sad we were moving away from Rhode Island, the only home I'd ever known until I was 7. All of our stuff was boxed up and shipped 30 days on the water. We said goodbye to friends. I remember my dad cried the day we left, one of the few times I've seen it happen. This was, however, the start of a big adventure for our family. First we flew to California because my mom had some business there before boarding a 13-hour flight to Hong Kong. How me and my brother didn't go crazy, I'm not sure, but I know my dad gave us plenty of things to keep us busy. The plane took what is known as the polar route, passing the North Pole before heading down through Siberia and northern China before landing in Kai-Tak Airport. First, we stayed in a hotel before we moved to a service apartment in Repulse Bay, a fancy area that overlooked the ocean. Our first night there, I remember, was my first experience with jet lag. In the middle of the night, me and my brother were jumping on the bed stark naked. My mom tried to get us to sleep, but to no avail. We were wired, and my parents weren't much better. Within the first week, my mom went for a jog on the beach and found a woman who had committed suicide floating in the surf. This was not, however, a bad omen of things to come. After a month or so, our stuff arrived and we moved into our actual apartment, which was within the same apartment complex. The property was managed by Hong Kong Shanghai Hotels Limited. The properties were 101 and 109 Repulse Bay Road. Inside the complex was a health club, a playground, a swimming pool, and a grocery store. The movers unpacked our stuff and moved us into our apartment on the 22nd floor of 101 Repulse Bay Road. I was at school, but my dad later told me that our couch had to be carried up 22 flights of stairs because it would not fit in the service elevator. Soon enough, we were settled into life there, and I made friends in the apartment building. We had a little skateboard gang, marauding around the apartment complex, climbing on rooftops, shooting BB guns, and other general mischief. I had a great friend who taught me everything there is to know about soccer and why I should like it. Me and him used to buy Premier League cards at the apartment club shop. I have a Frank Lampard West Ham card. Anyway, Brian was half Dutch and half Italian and a massive Arsenal fan. Thierry Henry, Nicolas Anelka, Mark Overmars, and of course, Dennis Bergkamp.
In de halve finale komen. Ik heb opeens zo'n gevoel dat we in de halve finale gaan komen met het balbezit voor Frank de Boer. Frank de Boer speelt de bal heel goed naar Dennis Bergkamp. Dennis Bergkamp neemt de bal aan. Dennis Bergkamp! Dennis Bergkamp! Dennis Bergkamp! Dennis Bergkamp! Dennis Bergkamp! Oh! Frank de Boer speelt de bal naar Dennis Bergkamp. Die neemt de bal feilloos aan en die schiet de bal erin. We spelen nog officieel 20 seconden. Dennis Bergkamp!
I soon learned a common theme about the expat lifestyle, that people move. Your best friend will one day up and leave. There will always be people to replace them, but it's tough to see so many friends move away to different parts of the world. After we settled in, we began to see the sights. There was the bird market, the fish market, the jade market, the wet market, the night market, lots of markets. There was the Peak and Tin Hau Temple and Tiger Balm Gardens, which was sadly demolished. There was the Star Ferry and the Noonday Gun, along with many, many others. Soon enough, we were enrolled in school. It was called Hong Kong International School. Founded in the 1960s by Lutheran missionaries from Missouri, it was the de facto American school. I remember being surprised on my first day when my teacher led a prayer and welcomed me into the community. Despite its religious background, it was pretty much just a regular school. Aside from the expat kids from the States, there was also the sons and daughters of Hong Kong's wealthy who wanted their children to go to university in the US. The first day I met with kids from all different cultures. One of my earliest friends was Jung Zhu, a Korean kid who shared my enthusiasm for, among other things, Pokemon cards. One of the major features of our apartment building was the pool. Everyone who lived there would gather around on hot weekend days to go swimming. I made a million friends, honed my swimming skills, and played pool games till my heart's content. My parents got to know the other expats who lived in the building, most of them in investment banking. They always had titles like Vice President of Asia for a particular firm, Or they were corporate lawyers, shipping company executives, insurance salesmen, or engineers, my mom, the lone woman, and the toy business. Among my friends, I made at the pool were a series of British kids who called soccer, football, and sneakers trainers. It for sure made me a strong swimmer, and years later, despite not swimming much, I can still dive right in and swim like a fish. By being on the other side of the world, certain places were more open to us in terms of vacation. We went to Malaysia, Indonesia, Vietnam, and parts of mainland China, like just over the border in Shenzhen or to Beijing. In addition, after we would go home in the summer to see our family in the States, we would stop in Europe. We saw London, Paris, Rome, all before I was 14 years old, my brother even younger. The climate was subtropical, so as you might imagine, hot and humid all the time, otherwise it would rain, and when I say rain, I mean rain. The mountains behind our apartment building would run with waterfalls. In fact, it would rain so hard we would miss school. While kids in the States got off for snow days, we would get rain days. When we woke up in the morning, me and my brother would run to the TV and turn on the local Chinese language news station and check the top of the screen for the rain insignia. Yellow? Bummer, you gotta go to school, dude. Amber? What a tease, you still gotta go to school. Red? Now we're talking. And the strongest of all, black. The best you could hope for was black rain one day, and then the second day, as it dissipated, red rain. This would mean 2 days off school. The other option was a typhoon, but those usually blew themselves out in a day, meaning only 1 day off of school. Aside from that, hot, like I said, air conditioning's running all day long. Perhaps one of the greatest things about the city was the excellent, clean, and safe public transportation system. By the time I was 10 years old, I would go anywhere I wanted around the city, taking the trains, the bus, the trams, or the occasional cab. The MTR was clean and efficient, with nice stations and a colorful map with the station names printed on them. Yamate, Mongkok, Prince Edward, Central, Admiralty, Tsim Sha Tsui, Wan Chai, Kennedy Town, North Point, Sing Yi, Lai Chi Kok. The buses were excellent as well, which stopped in front of our apartment building. The 6A, 6X, 260 provided hair-raising rides around the winding mountain roads of the city, in particular the double-decker buses, which were my favorite to ride. If you got on, you always tried to get the seat up top and in front. It was like a roller coaster ride as the branches touched off the front window, offering spectacular rides home. In addition to the double-decker buses, there was also something known as mini-buses or public light buses, small buses that were rumored to have been run by the triads. The buses had no bells, so you had to yell "Basi Jap Ngoy" when you wanted to get off. Looking back, I felt when I was 10, I had as much freedom as a kid who's 16 and gets their driver's license. One of the coolest things about this was you could use an octopus card for all different transportation systems. You could load it up with money and then just tap it on one of the readers. It was ingenious and has been around for years. This system was more complex then than New York City's subway system is to this day. Hong Kong has a series of public holidays and festivals, some of which we would get off of school. For instance, the Mid-Autumn Festival, which was created to celebrate the harvest moon. The day after the festival was given as a holiday because celebrations took place at night. Everyone would go to the beach or public parks and light lanterns. One of the biggest celebrations happened at Repulse Bay Beach. Other famous festivals include the Bun Festival, where a tower of buns is created and people from the local fishing village scale to the top and try to reach the highest bun. Or the Ghost Festival, where people's spirits would return from the dead to visit their family members. It is observed by burning joss money and other paper constructions like cars and TVs, offering to make life easier in the afterlife and help out other lonely and lost spirits. Another major holiday celebrated was Chinese New Year. In February, we would get a week off of school. The holiday brought with it lychee packets and decorative kumquat trees posted in the lobby and outside of buildings. The lychee packets are given out by married people to little kids or other unmarried adults. The red of the envelope represents good luck, along with the red Hong Kong $100 bill that's placed inside. Generally, when greeting an elder with Gung Hei Fa Choi, you would receive a packet. The holiday is based on the lunar calendar and is meant to signify the starting of spring. This is also the time of the year when the Chinese zodiac sign would change from, say, the year of the pig to the year of the dragon. This is by no means an exhaustive list, but just some of the ones I remember the best. The main language spoken in Hong Kong is Cantonese, different than the official language of China, which is Mandarin. In school, we learned Mandarin, likely a political move. It might have proven more useful for us to learn Cantonese because we would hear it more often. However, the characters for both languages are the same. Additionally, most Hong Kong people would understand Mandarin even if they do not always speak it. I can't say I mastered either language, but I can still count to 10 in both. Yat, yi, sam, say, lot, chot, bot, gao, sap. That's Cantonese. Yi, san, si, wu, liu, chi, ba, zhou, shi. That's Mandarin. Okay, I lied. I know more than how to count. What kind of kid would I be if I didn't know a few swear words in Cantonese? Du le lomo, go fuck your mother. Pok gai, fall in the street and die. Ham gat san, curse your whole family. Yamo gao choa, you've gotta be fucking kidding me. It actually means you must be crazy, but it's a similar vibe. Hey, I still got it after all these years. Hong Kong itself had been a fishing village operated by, among others, the Hakka people. Slowly, over the years, its importance began to grow as a strategic port. Eventually, it began to attract foreign interest, first by the Portuguese and then by the British. It was the subject of some turmoil during the Opium Wars. In the end, the British prevailed and gained control of Hong Kong and Kowloon before finally getting a 99-year lease on the new territories. During World War II, Hong Kong was invaded by the Japanese, and there are still many relics of the war itself. Old pillboxes and bunkers can be found all over the island, and outside the Hong Kong-Shanghai Bank building, shrapnel damage can be found on the lines flanking the entrance. Eventually, the island was liberated, and post-war entered an economic boom. Manufacturing became huge in southern China, and a large workforce arrived escaping Mao's Cultural Revolution in China. From this point on, Hong Kong began to evolve into the modern mecca for business and culture it is today. Interestingly, as it relates to today's current situation with COVID-19, while I was living there, we had a bit of a mini-pandemic with SARS, but it did not have the same global reach that COVID-19 has had. The year I moved there, the British officially gave back the land they had at least 99 years previously, and China took control. The island still retains some of its independence, even having its own acronym SAR, Special Administrative Region. However, in the years since, mainland China has begun to put the squeeze on Hong Kong's autonomy and crack down on people's rights and freedoms. In the last year and a half or so, large-scale protests and riots have erupted in the streets with brutal consequences for the people of Hong Kong. As a former resident, I found this to be a sad state of affairs. I can only hope that recent events won't ruin the beauty of Hong Kong forever. In the end, we moved back in December 2005 to Rhode Island. My brother was a little younger, so I think he was spared a bit. But for me, being 15, 16 years old, I experienced a bit of a reverse culture shock. It took me years to readjust. Still to this day, I'm left with a feeling that I'm not really from anywhere, or that any one place is home to me. In the end, everyone I knew from Hong Kong is scattered into the wind. When I went away to college, I was able to reconnect with some of them, but I was always left wondering what happened to everybody. This is a picture of my 3-4 combo class. I could still name everyone even though I haven't seen some of these people in easily 15 years. Katie, Clement, Andrew, Kevin, James, Mickey, Sean, Alex, Emily, Peter, Jocelyn, Daniela, Sarah, me, Alyssa, Tara, Rio, Martha, Edmund, Joanne, Anthony, Mrs. Mullenix.